Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cyndy. Thank you so much for being here. I just continue to truly appreciate the support, the comments, the thumbs up. To my new subscribers, welcome, welcome, welcome. Donors, thank you very, very much. You're most generous, and I very much appreciate it and am grateful. Okay, so just a quickie. It's not often with what goes on in the world that I actually belly laugh, all right? But the other morning, um, I woke up to the news that Trump has decided that because of this massive voter fraud, which of course nobody can find any of, he wants the Constitution suspended. Yep, Constitution. He just wants it suspended because he wants to be returned to office as president. And at the very, very least, perhaps maybe they could just hold another election. Like, this is somebody who has not only gone off the rails, but he jumped off the cliff. Okay, like he is now in Insaneville. There's just no, and he's receiving a fair bit of condemnation for that. Well, duh, I guess so. You're talking about the bedrock of the American um, society of the country. Anyways, he's just going. Listen, this is a problem, right? The more the legal issues tighten around him, the more crazed he's going to become. You know, he's got the company one, he's got the Georgia one, he's got the New York one, he's got another, the Biggs one that sort of supposedly was reactivated. He has the Department of Justice, and now he has a special prosecutor, um, Jack Smith, and a counsel. So this guy's in so much trouble. Truly, he doesn't know which way to turn and or spit. So you can continue to expect that really sort of drastic, insane, incoherent sort of mumblings and rumblings. Apparently, Truth Social is not doing very well at all. They too are actually losing subscribers. Um, it's not that they have, I think they have like 3.5 million. I mean, for goodness sakes, there's YouTube channels that have more than that. But apparently, I think they now have somewhere around 3.8, but apparently, like 1.8 million or something have already unsubscribed or stopped using True Social, I think since August. So, no matter where he looks, it just doesn't look good. And he's becoming more and more what he is. So, but be that as it may, I want to take a look today at the power that Marjorie Taylor Greene has now over Kevin McCarthy, and it's considerable. Don't don't kid yourself. I mean, she Louis Gohmert and her are all of a sudden buddies beyond buddies compare. She has a very definite agenda, and she wants that power. And the only way she is going to give McCarthy that power is if he concedes to a bunch of her demands. And they're important demands. They're so important to the Republican people. It's like, yeah, I want to be able to impeach Biden once a week. Um, I want to. Jim Jordan wants to be able to open up all kinds of investigations on Hunter Biden. Like, it's just crazy, crazy what's going on. And you know what? The thing is how on earth can anybody take the Republicans seriously in any way, shape, or form when they promise, to look at the horrible economy, which actually apparently is not doing that horrible in the States, um, And, you know, they're going to fix all the problems, but they're going to start with Hunter Biden and impeaching Biden. I mean, it's craziness, but it is concerning that she is going to have a significant amount of power over Kevin McCarthy. So I want to take a look at that. So let's get started, shall we? You know what? Kevin McCarthy is he has no spine. He's like sort of like a jellyfish. You know, he just sort of plops around with whoever's talking the loudest. I don't, you know, maybe he took lessons from Trump. I don't know. Maybe, you know, the loudest voice in the room gets his attention. It could be. So let's take a look. Oh my goodness, at Marjorie Taylor Greene and Kevin McCarthy. Here we go. Marjorie Taylor Greene, power, McCarthy. Marjorie Taylor Greene, power, McCarthy. Marjorie Taylor Greene, power, McCarthy. Let's see what we can see. Oh, I do have my pendulum out, so we'll ask a few questions towards the end. Kind of become my new thing. Okay. So this is kind of where we're at right now. She's waiting. She sees her ships coming in. She sees things are going to start moving in her direction. And so she is continuing to apply a lot of pressure. You know, she's out there talking, she's making demands privately and quietly. There is absolutely no balance. McCarthy truly does listen to the loudest voice in the room, the loudest voice who says, I'll vote for you. When is that? On January 6th, maybe? And where it's going to lead is to a broken heart. So, this is kind of the thing. The government has the government is in a strong enough position with the Senate going to the Democrats, and today, of course, is the Georgian runoff, and we know, because we just do, that Raphael Warnock is going to walk away with that. But the government itself is sort of almost strong enough to push back. And this is what I'm getting energetically, is that there are people within the Republican Party who have been, for right now, I would call them mainstream Republicans, I guess, for a lack of a better word. It feels like they are going to start pushing back against some of Marjorie Taylor Greene's demands. So McCarthy gives in, says, sure, go ahead, impeach Biden every week. I don't care. Just vote for me. I need the title. I need the power. It's my dream job. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it. Okay. But what's going to happen is you're going to have the Murkowskis and the Collins and the Romneys, etc., pushing back and saying, yeah, no. And remember, there's a very, very small margin there. So it's not going to take a lot of people to push back against her and say, yeah, no, you can't do it. Just stop the silly, stop the crazy. They're going to get absolutely nothing done. They are going in with such big dreams. Oh my goodness, they have this wish list. This is what happens to it. This is what happens to their wish list. It is not going to work out for them. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, in the meantime, is really going to show herself to be quite quite the skilled hypocrite. I don't know if it was the Midas Touch or Brian Cohen. I can't remember, but one of them was showing, they were talking about the whole Thanksgiving dinner with Kanye West and this Nick Flutis guy. And there's a video that just got put out by Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, I just, people who speak like that are just terrible. And, we don't allow racism and bigotry in the Republican Party. It is appalling. And then they, of course, interspaced that with her saying, there's been a Muslim invasion, and I'm a white Christian nationalist. Okay, so she is just, there's too much out there. That's what these people don't understand. Now, you have to understand that for those people who are in the forever and always Trump camp, it's not going to penetrate with them. But who it's going to continue to penetrate with is the normal Republicans. And right now, the election has shown that the normal Republicans far outweigh the crazies. People want people to do their job. It's like we send you to Ottawa, or sorry, Canadian, right? We send you to Washington, do what you're supposed to do. And that's not happening. And unfortunately, bad fortune is going to befall both of them. Now, I have to tell you right now, energetically, it feels as if Kevin McCarthy is going to get the votes. It also feels, though, that once he's in power, he's going to try to establish some authority, which of course we know he doesn't have because, again, he's a jellyfish. But he's going to try to start pushing back on some of the most outlandish stuff. He's going to try to return things to, something that's sort of vaguely, even a little bit, sorry about that. He's going to try to push back and sort of try to turn things into something sort of normal. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to come after him. They're going to come after him with guns blazing. And he's going to end up having to leave that position. As for Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is going to find herself more and more ostracized because she's too far out on the limb. And she wasn't, or she was up for re-election. Was she up for re-election in this last election? She must have been, because she's a representative from Georgia. So apparently she got voted in. She must have. But this is going to change. In some ways, Herschel Walker has done the Democrats a massive favor, because what he's done is he has pointed out how incredibly extreme the Republicans have become. And so, yeah, that's not looking good. Okay, and now we're going to talk a little bit apparently about Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, the greedy king, right? He's desperately trying to hold on to whatever influence, whatever standing, whatever status, and whatever money he has or believes he has. And he's very frightened, like truly knee-knocking frightened of what's going to happen when justice comes calling. And when justice comes calling, he's going to keep those lawyers filing stupid lawsuits and frivolous delays, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is the courts are onto them, and the courts have had enough. And so when anything's asked to be expedited, it's going to get expedited right fast. And the ruling is always going to be against Trump. Like, that's just how it's going to be for him. And so he can have all those lawyers working very hard and very diligently, and it's not going to get him what he wants, because people now see him as weak, ineffectual. They see him as somebody who not only is losing power within the Republican Party, but has become so extreme that now he really doesn't have any power. Well, he has power, but it's diminishing on a continual and sort of ongoing basis. And sort of like Marjorie Taylor Greene, the crazier the statements are that he makes, the more hypocritical the statements are that he makes. And listen up, it's not that politicians, God Almighty, aren't hypocritical. Of course they are, but Republicans lately have just taken it to a level that is really beyond the pale. It just is. And people are going to get really tired of it. You know what? Listen, you poor Americans, you are exhausted. You are completely fatigued with the political crazy that's going on. And even though it's not as horrible as it was, it's still not great. And there's still so many shenanigans and there's so much disinformation. But it feels as if, the Republican Party, as it was, pretty much no longer exists. There's going to be some who push back. But the reality is either the Republican Party is going to literally become this sort of white nationalist, anti-Semite, we hate everybody who isn't, white, and from the right, genealogical background. Um, Either they're going to become that, or they're going to completely have to reinvent themselves in a new way. It would be very interesting if the Republican Party, as sort of we knew it, reinvents itself to something else, and the hardliners actually create a third party. Because the thing is, in America, it is absolutely a two-party rule in your country. Like here in Canada, as I'm sure some of you know, um, if a leader doesn't, or the winner sort of doesn't get enough votes for a majority, they can couple with one of the other parties and they agree to work in sync. And yeah, there's compromises on both sides, but they agree to work in sync against sort of the party that they're both kind of resisting. And so then you end up with it's a minority rule, right? But you don't have that in the United States. You have um a two-party rule, which means that party, even if it's created as a third party, is not going to have any clout, because they're never going to get, 50+% of the American people agreeing with them, no matter how many white nationalists we think there are. There's not enough. Let's take comfort from that, shall we? Okay. Um, I want to just take a quick peek at Trump and see how he's doing. I imagine it's pretty hideous. I can tell you from stepping into his energy, he is blind with rage. You know how they say, it's never happened to me, but they say that you can get so angry that you see red. That's the kind of anger he's in, but he is sustaining it on an hour by hour, day by day basis. And as we've discussed before, he is so used to functioning at that level of chaos that his health actually may very well be able to sustain it. I still see him as not being healthy, but the chaos does not create the kind of anxiety and stress that it would in most people. Quick peek Trump, quick peek Trump, quick peek at Trump. Let's see. Okay. More and more quickly. There's going to be more information. He's going to say more crazy things, more outlandish things. Um, and he's shooting himself in the foot. He is causing even some of the radicals to pull back. It was interesting when that Kanye West, was on Alex Jones's show. It all like covered up, like I don't know what he was trying to be, but he looked really stupid. He had masks on and a hoodie on and gloves on, and anyways. And he started on about how, sort of there was a lot to be admired about Hitler. Even Alex Jones, even him stepped back and said, I just don't think I can agree with that. However, my understanding is he let Kanye go on and on and on and on, but at least he did a token. I don't agree with that. But what's happening with Trump is his partnerships, the ones that he could count on and depend on, are diminishing. There's fewer and fewer people around him. And apparently, I don't know if you heard, but they're now saying that Trump is always going to have an assistant with him, I guess 24 hours a day, to try to rein in some of the crazy that is going on with him. But they're not going to be able to, because he is in a panic about his life. He is in a panic about his assets. And he is so angry. He is so scared of indictments coming. And he knows in his more rational brain, when it kicks into gear, that he knows that they're coming. Okay. I'm sure his lawyers have clarified to him, for him, that even though they reference him always as President Trump, he's not the president. He doesn't have the kind of power he thought he had, and he's in big trouble. So what you're getting with Trump is rage, is anger. People that he thought would stand by him, like his daughter, have pulled back and said no. Um, the Republican Party, except again for the forever and ever Trumper people, um, are pulling away from him, and he is feeling it crumbling, under him. And because he feels it crumbling under him, he just he's so antagonistic, he's so angry, he's so scared of being poor. He thinks that the only possible way for him to save himself, literally, is to um, take back the presidency. He sees it as the only option, which is why you're hearing more and more outrageous and outlandish things from him. So this is the problem with him. He's going to continue to escalate, unfortunately. Um, but I don't think it's actually going to get him anywhere. All right. So he's really angry, scared. Oh my God, he is so scared. And he continues to just roll around in delusion. That's the only way I can describe it. He literally is rolling around in delusions. If anybody says anything he doesn't want to hear, he attacks, he shuts down, he doesn't listen. As Kanye found out when apparently he suggested that he was going to run for president and Trump would make a great running mate. Oh my God, can you just imagine how his head must have exploded? Craziness. Here we go, pendulum. It's time for the pendulum. As you can see, it's going side to side. It's ready to talk. So let's ask a few questions. Okay. We'll start with the obvious one. Is Raphael Warnock going to retain his seat in the Senate? Is he going to win back his seat in the Senate? Strong guess. Strong guess. At that point, are the Republicans going to almost disavow Herschel Walker? Are they going to pull back from him? Yeah, apparently, like one of the second most powerful Republicans in Georgia, I don't know his name, I don't know what his title is, but he made a point of saying that he went to vote and he couldn't vote for, Warnock because he's a Democrat, and he couldn't vote for Walker, and so he walked out without voting. That tells you something. Um, the written report from January 6th, um, is that something that's going to be reviewed, like literally in its report form, by special counsel? Yes. Merrick Garland has asked for all of the material connected to um, the January 6th committee's work. He has requested that all of it be sent to the Department of Justice. Is that going to happen? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. They accomplished, they did what they needed to do. Their purpose is to write laws to prevent this from happening again. Um, and so there's that. Are there people who were around Trump who supported or in any way helped facilitate the riots of, or it's not a riot, sorry, it is a seditious attack on January 6th? Are there other people around him, other high up politicians who were actually going to feel the wrath of the special counsel, Jack Smith? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be a few shocked people who thought because they had a title in Washington, they were exempt, they were, immunized from having to follow laws. Um, hmm. We know Joe Biden's going to be okay. He's protected. We know Warnock is going to win. You know what? I think that's it for now. But you know what? We've come to another one of those times where I'm going to ask you in the comment section, please write down, send me your yes and no questions in the comment section. I'll gather them for the next several days, and then we'll do a pendulum only video to answer those questions. By the way, thank you for those of you who sent me warmth and sunshine. I'm so appreciative. I'm so grateful. It has warmed up here quite a bit. The bad news is we're going into another polar vortex, I think later on this week sometimes. All right. I'll just share this with you. When I was younger, and Alberta is known for its cold winters, okay? And both of my parents immigrated from Europe, from Ukraine. And in the coldest of winters, I remember especially my mother, I would look to her and say, "What was your family thinking? Like, really? What was your family thinking that they decided this was the place they wanted to homestead? This was where they wanted to be?" And she never really, because I would always follow it with, they could have gone to Florida and grown oranges. Well, there are days like now, even with the cold, with DeSantis, Rubio, the crazies. I actually thank my ancestors for not going to Florida. Okay. Until next time, take care. Be well. I'll see you really soon. Bye bye.